Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2,000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free English ebook before it's gone. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome to the 2000 Core English Words and Phrases video series. Each lesson will help you learn new words, practice, and review what you've learned. Okay, let's get started. First is steak knife. Steak knife. Steak knife. A steak knife is a special kind of knife that we use for eating things like steak. So we have dull knives, so knives that are not so sharp that we use for spreading things. And then we have steak knives, which are very sharp knives that are small enough to use with one hand. We typically call these steak knives. Here's an example. My mother cuts my dinner with a steak knife. My mother cuts my dinner with a steak knife. My mother cuts my dinner with a steak knife. Carving knife. Carving knife. Carving knife. A carving knife is a special kind of knife that we typically use for cutting large pieces of meat. So for example, a turkey at Thanksgiving or maybe even a chicken. When we use a carving knife, we are trying to remove the meat from the bone of the animal that we have cooked. So carving knives can be quite large and quite sharp. Here's an example. I always use a carving knife when I serve turkey. I always use a carving knife when I serve turkey. I always use a carving knife when I serve turkey. Salty. 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 Salty is an adjective. This adjective means something that tastes like salt. So when we want to talk about something that is salty, it typically means it's a little bit negative, like that thing tastes a little too much like salt and it's difficult to eat. Here are some examples. These appetizers are too salty. These appetizers are too salty. These appetizers are too salty. Taste. 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 Taste can be used as a noun and as a verb. As a verb, to taste means to try the flavor of something. As a noun, as in this example sentence, it refers to the flavor of something. Here's an example. The taste and odor of garlic are its cooking trademarks. The taste and odor of garlic are its cooking trademarks. The taste and odor of garlic are its cooking trademarks. Sweet. 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 Sweet is an adjective. It means something that has a sugary taste. We can have natural sweet flavors like we find in fruits, and we can also have less natural sweet flavors like we find in chocolates and candies. Here's an example. The candy is very sweet. The candy is very sweet. The candy is very sweet. Bitter. 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 Bitter is an adjective that refers to taste. Bitter is used to talk about something that has kind of an earthy flavor or that can have kind of a bit of a negative flavor at times too. So for example, things like coffee can be quite bitter. Things like leafy greens can be quite bitter. Some people really like bitter tastes. Other people really hate them. Here's an example. The smaller leaves of turnip greens are the least bitter. The smaller leaves of turnip greens are the least bitter. The smaller leaves of turnip greens are the least bitter. Spicy. 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 Spicy is an adjective that's used to talk about flavors that are very, very hot. When we eat them, we might feel our face turn red. We might even cry a little bit if it's very spicy. So things that are spicy make us feel a little bit warm in our body. Here's an example. My face sweats when I eat very spicy foods. My face sweats when I eat very spicy foods. My face sweats when I eat very spicy foods. Sour, sour, sour. Sour is an adjective. Again, we use this word to talk about tastes, to talk about flavors. Sour foods are, for example, citruses, like maybe lime and lemon, perhaps grapefruit as well. These kinds of things can make us feel a little bit of tension when we eat them. Sometimes it's unpleasant. Here's an example. The sour taste of the lemon will cleanse your palate between courses. The sour taste of the lemon will cleanse your palate between courses. The sour taste of the lemon will cleanse your palate between courses. Wheat, wheat, wheat. Wheat is a stalk plant. So this is the plant that we use to create things like bread. It's also a key ingredient in drinks like beer. Wheat is used for so many different products all around the world. Here's an example. The fireflies are flying over the wheat field. The fireflies are flying over the wheat field. The fireflies are flying over the wheat field. Cooked rice. Cooked rice. Cooked rice. Cooked rice refers to rice that has been boiled or prepared and is ready to be eaten. So cooked rice is different from raw rice because raw rice cannot be eaten or should not be eaten in that state. Cooked rice usually refers to rice that has been steamed or perhaps boiled. Here's an example. Cooked rice needs to sit covered for 5 to 30 minutes after taking it off the heat. Cooked rice needs to sit covered for 5 to 30 minutes after taking it off the heat. Cooked rice needs to sit covered for 5 to 30 minutes after taking it off the heat. Let's review. I'm going to describe a word or phrase in English. See if you can remember it. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say the word that refers to the very, very easy to use but very sharp knife we sometimes use for cutting meat? Steak knife. Steak knife. And how to say the word that we use to talk about the large knife that is used to cut things like turkey and chicken? Carving knife. Carving knife. What about the word that we use to talk about something that tastes like salt? Salty. Salty. Do you remember how to say the word that means the flavor of something? This can also be used as a verb. Taste. Taste. Let's try the word that means something that tastes like sugar. This can be natural or unnatural. Sweet. Sweet. What about the word that means something that can taste a little bit earthy and that some people might not like? Common examples are leafy greens and maybe even beers. Bitter. Bitter. Now, let's see if you remember how to say the flavor that is very, very hot. When you eat it, it might make you feel warm. Spicy. Spicy. Another one. What about the word that means something that tastes like lemon or grapefruit or lime, something that might feel a little bit like tension when you eat it? Sour. Sour. Do you remember how to say the stalk plant that is used to make things like bread and beer and lots of other food products? Wheat. Wheat. And finally, do you remember how to say the type of rice that has been prepared? It's ready to eat. This is the opposite of raw rice. Cooked rice. Cooked rice. Well done. See you next time. Bye.